With reactions to the Elimination Chamber event and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Going over the full extent of his back injury that required surgery, Randy Orton told Sports Illustrated, "Before I left, I got to a point where Matt Riddle had done everything he could for me as a tag partner. I could barely stand for a long amount of time. Taking my kids trick-or-treating that Halloween, I would have to sit in between the houses because I just couldn't be on my feet that long. I had stenosis, degeneration all over my lower spine, and a slipping disc. Every time I extended my spine, it would slip and press on those nerves. I couldn't sit and take a without pain shooting down my legs or my feet going numb. I couldn't stand. There were times when I'd move and end up on the floor." During the men's Elimination Chamber match, Logan Paul would hit Randy Orton with his KO punch as he posted a clip of it to X and wrote RKO equals Randy knocked out. In a post on TikTok, the daughter of the late great Scott Hall showed off a video clip where Hall can be seen with the likes of Kevin Nash and Triple H. Giving his thoughts on AEW star Hook, Rob Van Dam said this on the Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast. "He's a very likable guy, and that's not just firsthand from me thinking he's got a good vibe and I like him, but I even noticed first that the crowd took to him so much. As I was trying to figure that out. What is that about him? I think it's cool that he's Taz's son. To use a pun, that's a little hook on his character, and it makes him stand out a little bit. Honestly, when I saw him and Samoa Joe do their little promo face-off, I thought it was funny how he held the microphone up, and it made me laugh. I thought it made him look like an unruly punk that just had some things he wanted to say but wasn't necessarily taught how, because that's the way it came across, which should be good for, I think, the message they were doing. I like him. I don't know. I'm not even exactly sure what you're asking. But I mean, as far as was there supposed to be anything more, I'm not one to open up a plan book. I'm more of a live by the moment kind of person. So in that regard, I usually don't know until it happens. It's just talk anyway. So I don't put that much into we're going to do this and that, and then maybe you are, maybe you're not. You know, that's just life in general. Hook came down and made the save when Brian Cage came in. I think that certainly leaves room for another match down the road. Tag match? Or I guess there's 3 or 4 of them. So maybe build it from them if that's something people would care about. As he was not a part of the Elimination Chamber event, despite it being in his home country, Bronson Reed did reveal some exciting news, writing on X, "Full disclosure, originally I was set to be at Elimination Chamber. It would have been an incredible moment. Unfortunately, plans changed. But everything happens for a reason. My wife and I have had our baby early. I was supposed to miss the PLE to make sure I'm here for my family. Thank you for all your support. To all my friends and family who have reached out, to Triple H for guiding me. Now I'm not just big, I am Big Papa." Recalling how he felt about hearing that Scott D'Amore was dismissed as president of TNA Wrestling, Moose told Jeremy Lambert and Joel Pearl on In the Weeds. "Initially, when I heard about it, I was shocked. I was upset, angry, sad, a bunch of emotions. At the same time, if anybody in the company can relate to something like that, I would probably be best suited because of my time in the NFL. I came from a world where head coaches get fired all the time. My rookie year, I got drafted by a guy who promised me a whole bunch of things, and he gets fired going into my second year. I had the same emotions. I was angry, pissed, upset. You just have to put faith in the general manager that they know what they're doing. You have to trust that he is making the best decisions for the company. Nobody wants to see TNA perish, especially Anthem, because they invested so much money in it. As much as we don't understand the decision, we have to trust it and put it in 110%. Everyone knows my relationship with Scott, but my relationship with Scott is going to stay the same. He's going to be my mentor, be my coach, a big brother to me. It's just, unfortunately, we're not working with each other. Knowing Scott very well, I know he still wishes the best for TNA, and he's put together a roster that is going to carry on his work and his legacy. Now, we have a new head coach in Anthem and a GM in Lynn, and we have to put our trust and faith in them to carry the torch. Touching on the possibility of making a return to the ring alongside the Bloodline, Rikishi said this on the Off the Top podcast. When you have 80,000 people either cheering you or booing you as a dream match for the fans, it would be nice. It would be hella nice. That'd be great. Everybody would get their photo op. I'll be able to be once again standing in the ring with my two boys and just enjoying a moment of 80,000, 90,000 people going to be sitting there just soaking all this in. Reacting to coming up short in the Women's Elimination Chamber match, Tiffany Stratton said this backstage. Obviously, Australia has great taste, I have to say, but maybe if they would have cheered a little bit louder, I actually would have won. Following his X Division title win at TNA Wrestling's No Surrender event, Mustafa Ali said this to fans in attendance. This marks my initial major championship in 2 decades. Regardless of your feelings towards me, it's been a pleasure and an honor competing in a TNA ring. Having wrestled globally against top competitors, the locker room tonight in front of you stands out as the best I've ever experienced. Thank you, good night, and always remember, in Ali we trust. Taking to X, Drew McIntyre reacted to his win in the Men's Elimination Chamber bout as he will be facing Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40. He posted a picture and wrote, "The Savior of WrestleMania." Congratulating Rhea Ripley following her homecoming at Elimination Chamber and victory over Nia Jax, Triple H posted on X, "What a week it's been for Rhea Ripley. She's main event superstar anywhere in the world, but this homecoming just turned things up a notch. Congrats to your women's world champion. Next stop, WrestleMania XL." With it previously reported prior to his injury that he was set to win the Men's Elimination Chamber match and face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 40, CM Punk had this to say about missing the event, writing on social media, "Had a rough day mentally today. My heart and spirit are in Perth. Just a hard day staying positive, and nobody wishes I was there performing for the fans more than me. Enjoy the show. Appreciate you all." In some unfortunate news, a pro wrestler is now deceased, as Ringside News wrote. We are sad to report that indie wrestler Anthony Gaines has passed away at the age of 30. Reports of Anthony Gaines' passing spread within the industry on Saturday, though the cause of death has not been disclosed as of yet. Born on July 22, 1993, Gaines emerged as a prominent figure on the independent wrestling scene in Western New York. Trained by Colin Delaney, Pepper Parks, and Jordan Lennox, he made his debut in 2014 for Upstate Pro Wrestling. Gaines continued to refine his skills while working for promotions like Pro Wrestling Rampage and Empire State Wrestling. Additionally, he had a few matches with Toronto-based Smash Wrestling. Gaines gained widespread recognition through a widely circulated clip from a 2018 match in North Tonawanda for Empire State Wrestling. In the match, Gaines faced Ace Romero, who delivered a powerful pounce that sent Gaines flying out of the ring. This highlight became heavily shared, bringing notoriety to both the performers and the promotion. Gaines, known as None of a Kind, won tag titles in Pro Wrestling Rampage and Southern Tier Wrestling as part of the Homewreckers with Jet Rebel. He held the ESW Interstate Championship from November 25th, 2017 for 1 year. His last match occurred in September 2023 at a Revenge Pro Wrestle Rage event in Erie, Pennsylvania in an 8-man tag. Giving praise to Cody Rhodes for his hand in launching All Elite Wrestling, Randy Orton said this to FoxNews.com. What he did for the business when he left and what he did for us talent in offering a competition, and I don't know if I call it competition now, but for a hot second there, Cody was buzzing because he got these guys together, got a ragtag group of guys together, and got a TV deal, and was drawing eyes from all over the world with this product. And the fact that he came back to us, I think, kind of shows you where the obvious number one place to be is if you're a pro wrestler. I love that he's come back home. I love that he's a part of the locker room. I love when I see him talking to other young talent and the role that he's in now as like a top guy. And if not just a top guy, possibly in a short amount of time, the top guy. Announcing that ex-WWE star Danielle Moinet, formerly known as Summer Rae, would be an interviewer for BYB Extreme Bare Knuckle Fighting Series. CEO of the promotion, Gregory Bloom, said, BYB's tremendous increase in popularity worldwide has confirmed the necessity to continuously connect with fight fans across the globe. Danielle's on-camera abilities, her experience in live sports, her global fan base, and her ability to articulate the intricacies of non-traditional sports to a wide audience is going to help us tell our story and showcase the personalities of our fighters both in and out of the Trigon. Moinet then added, having seen the explosion in popularity of bare knuckle over the past year and its exponential growth possibilities, I couldn't be more excited to be a part of what I feel will be one of the most popular mainstream combat genres in the near future. That feeling was even more prevalent when I had the opportunity to meet the full BYB team this month at BYB 24 in Biloxi. The professionalism and experience that BYB boasts behind the scenes in that booth and in the Trigon is on par with anything I've seen in sports over the past decade, and I'm honored to become a part of it. Discussing his experiences in Hollywood, Hulk Hogan had this to say on TBN's praise. Well, it was a logical extension of where I should go with my career, because once the wrestling took off and the character Hulk Hogan became as big as the wrestling business at the time, people were reaching out to me, to do other projects, commercials, Super Bowl commercials, Right Guard commercials, all kinds of stuff. And the movies were a logical extension. So Vince McMahon and I sat down and basically spent 3 days over on Madeira Beach writing No Holds Barred. And then we brought a writer, had to clean it up, and he pretty much got all the credit for it because we didn't know anything about writing or the Screen Actors Guild or the Writers Guild. We didn't know anything. We hired a writer to clean it up. We didn't know he was going to own it, which didn't matter. But once I made that film and it was successful, New Line Cinema wanted me to make more films. And the problem I had with it was I loved wrestling so much. And I was in the prime of my career. It wasn't like I was on the downside and I was picking up extra work or trying to get out of the wrestling business to become an actor. I was in. I was the world's heavyweight champion. Hulkamania was running wild. I was in front of 20 to 30,000 people every night. Now you want me to go sit in a Winnebago on the side of the Sony soundstage for 14 hours and you might call me at 5 o'clock to get in front of a camera for 5 minutes? The process killed me. I mean, there's an art form to that, and the really good actors, understand timing exactly when to ramp up, and everything from the lighting to the camera placement to the cadence to everything, they understand it once they get in front of the camera. But for me, I was ready to jump off a cliff waiting for 10 or 12 hours for them to use me, or they may use me first thing in the morning, getting in the makeup trailer at 5:30 in the morning and 8 o'clock. I may do my first shot and then, okay, well, hang on. We're not sure if we're going to need you for the rest of the day. So after lunch was over, no, you need to hang out. So I would sit there for 12 hours and they would only use me 4 or 5 minutes in the morning. So the process was hard. and so I always wanted to go back to wrestling, and I did, but I kept bouncing back and forth, making small little budget movies for kids and having fun with that, and shoot them in 25 to 30 days and running right back to the wrestling business, and I had the chance to become like the next John Wayne. There's a guy named Bob Evans that ran Paramount, and he took me in his office, and there was a big picture on the wall with Clint Eastwood and John Wayne and all the big stars, Dustin Hoffman, and everybody that was part of the contract players for Paramount at the time. And he said, "You're going to be my next John Wayne." Then he kind of laid out the schedule and what was expected of me on and off camera. I went, I am the wrong guy for that stuff. So I just decided to go back to wrestling. As a user shared a first look at Dijak's entrance in the upcoming WWE 2K24 video game, Dijak expressed displeasure over this, writing on X, "Alright, at WWE Games, now you're just effing with me with that T-bar entrance." Asked for his thoughts on the tag team title reign he had with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens told Alex McCarthy of Mail Sport, "Me and Sami worked our asses off to give main events on Raw every week that had people going wild, and we succeeded. And I'm not one to toot my own horn, I really am not, but I think Sami and I did a lot of special things as champions that went under the radar because they weren't on pay-per-views. They weren't under the big bright lights. They were usually on Raw." Taking a shot at Cody Rhodes after a picture of him with a fan's trans flag was seen, former WWE star Val Venus wrote on X, "Hey, Cody Rhodes, what are the first 3 things you would do if your child came to you and said, 'Daddy, my teacher taught me today that I was born in the wrong body'?" Touching on the position Bayley has in WWE as she is set to take on Io Sky for the women's title at WrestleMania, Shelton Benjamin said this on the Black Wrestling podcast. "You need to be talking about Bayley a whole lot more. Don't get me wrong, I get it, everyone's hot on The Rock and Cody finishing the story, but at the same time, I even saw CM Punk say it. Bayley won the Royal Rumble, and all anyone is talking about is Cody's story. Sorry. Give Bayley her flowers. She's one of the most underrated girls on the roster. I feel like she's underrated and underappreciated by the company, but not by the talent. I think we recognize what she is, and Bayley should be world champion come April." With her taking part in the Women's Elimination Chamber bout, Raquel Rodriguez, who was recently diagnosed with mast cell activity syndrome, revealed that she had a flare-up on the way to the event, posting photos and writing on Instagram, "If you had told me that on the long flight to Perth, Australia for the first time it was going to blow my face up and turn me the same color as my pink satin pillowcase, might have been the makeup on Monday too. I would have still jumped on that flight. Maybe my trip didn't go as planned, but I'm still learning this new body of mine. A big part of being a female wrestler for WWE is getting to sit in that makeup chair with our amazing makeup team, who I love so much, and getting to get dolled up. It's part of being a girl. It's part of feeling fully the part. At the end of the night, I'm proud I went out there Alicia Keys style. Even if this trip didn't go as planned, I am still grateful that I was blessed to be in Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia with 5 other talented women, and I got to hug a koala bear, so it was a win for me. Thank you so much for the lovely Vanessa of Lymphatic Massage Perth for seeing me last minute 3 times to help me feel my best for the chamber. Your grace, kindness, and knowledge was a godsend. Thank you to West Oz Wildlife for the hugs and animal love. A big thank you to the entire WWE medical team. And so much love to my family and friends for the late and early phone calls, prayers, and constantly checking on me. Osamo, on to a long flight home. Going over the original plan for Bronson Reed to be involved in the Elimination Chamber event, Sean Ross Sapp noted that Bronson Reed was not at WWE Elimination Chamber and was not in Australia for the show. This was not the original plan. Reed tweeted this morning that his wife gave birth to their child early, although that wasn't the original reason he was off the show, as he'd indicated on Twitter recently. Fightful Select has learned that Bronson Reed was slated for a huge spot on the Elimination Chamber show in his home country. Originally, Reed was scheduled to face Seth Rollins in a World Heavyweight Championship match, hinted at in promos where he said he was coming after a champion that had no idea it was coming. Unfortunately, plans for the match were cancelled when Rollins sustained a knee injury and wasn't able to perform on the show. We're told that Reed was more than willing to work the event ahead of the birth of his child, but everything ended up working out for the best. It appears as though a major star could be making a return to WWE for their biggest event of the year, as Ringside News wrote that The Rock might not be the only big Hollywood name to make his presence felt at WrestleMania 40. 16-time world champion John Cena is also being planned to be a part of the premium live event. Though his previous commitments might make it harder to get him on board, WWE is reportedly trying to make it happen. Ringside News was told by a tenured member of the creative team that WWE are trying to get John Cena for WrestleMania 40. However, him being in action might not be necessary for the appearance. WWE wants to get Cena in for the Showcase of Immortals to do something. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.